Welcome back to my channel. I received a lot of questions about my deal. So in this video, I'll do a deep dive on my first flip. So first question, how did I find the deal? I found the deal through a wholesaler. Listen, I tried everything. I tried to do it on my own. I tried cold calling. I tried direct mail. I drove for dollars. I did everything. And it was taking me months and months and months and months and months. I would get a call here and there, but nothing concrete. Sometimes the people would would yell at me, curse me out. So I didn't like that part of the business. So I started working with wholesalers. The great thing about wholesalers, you're not tied to one. So I had like 10 wholesalers sending me deals every day. I would evaluate the deals to see what made sense. And the deals that made sense, those are the deals that I went to walk the property to see, because you have certain investors, they will buy a property sight unseen, but I'm not doing it. When I found the deal, it surprised me, honestly, because when I ran the numbers, the wholesaler was saying, hey, the property will be worth around, I think he said like around 240, something like that, 240, 250. So when I ran the numbers, I was like, I think it'll be worth more than this. So I ran the comps like 3 different times. I did a best case scenario, worst case scenario, and then I did like an average case scenario, I guess you could say. And each time when I ran the numbers, I'm like, I think this is worth more than 240. So I reached out to a hard money lender. So what hard money lenders do, they will purchase the house for you and they will give you the money for the rehab. Even though they are purchasing and giving you the money for the rehab, they still will send an appraiser out there so they can, see what the property is actually worth as well. Again, the wholesaler was like, hey, it's going to be worth 240, 250. And I'm like, nah, that's wrong. So I was working with 2 lenders, 2 hard money lenders at the same time. I just don't believe in putting all your eggs in one basket. It's funny because the first hard money lender, when I got the appraisal report, it said 240 to 250. And I'm like, no, he's wrong too. So 2 people told me it was worth 240 to 250. And I stuck to my numbers. I'm like, he's wrong and he's wrong. And the other lender, the other hard money lender, that appraisal came back and he still didn't give me the exact value that I wanted, but it was close. So he gave me a value of like 315. So I moved forward with that hard money lender. The thing that was most attractive by this hard money lender, besides the appraisal, I went to closing with just $898. Yes, $898, and I will put it on the screen. Now, this isn't like a sales pitch or anything like that, because I don't work for the hard money lenders at all. But that's a fact. I went to closing with $898, and it was crazy. It was crazy. So I went with that hard money lender, and the reason why I didn't have to put much down, it was a lot of meat on the bone. My purchase price was $109,000. The appraiser, he gave me a value of 315, and he was wrong too, but he was close. So again, I'm purchasing an asset for $109,000, but it's worth over $300,000. Anybody would do that deal, so it doesn't look risky. So for me now, as an investor, now that I got the deal, it's a win-win. How hard money works, they'll give you the money to purchase the property, and then they'll give you the money to rehab it. But they don't just give it to you all at once. They give you the money in draws. Let's say if I have 5K down for demo. So once I demo it, I would have to pay my workers. Then I would reach out to my hard money lender like, hey, look, I finished the demo. They'll send someone out, take a picture, inspect it, and then they'll send me the 5K back into my bank account. If I do paint and the paint is $3,000, I pay the $3,000. Hard money lender goes, checks, verify, then they pay me the 3,000 back, so on and so forth. That's how the draw works. You have to keep in mind that hard money is temporary financing. So it's usually between 6 to 12 months. So you either have to refinance out of the hard money loan, or you need to sell the property and pay off the hard money loan. So for this particular property, I decided to sell. The cool thing about my property, the guy next door, the day that I purchased the property, he was like, hey, let me buy it from you. And he said he was going to tear it down and build some townhomes. But I was like, no, you can buy it from me once it's finished. So throughout the process, I didn't really hear much from him while I was renovating the property. But once it got closer to the end, one day I looked on my cameras. My guys were working there, and he's just like sitting in the front yard. I'm like, yo, what's going on? So I pulled up to see what's going on, and he was just sitting there smiling, honestly. But I couldn't see that from the cameras. And he was like, hey, yeah, I want to buy it. Can I come in and look? And I was like, not right now. Let me finish it. So I finished up the house, and just so happened when I put my sign out in the yard to sell, he's like, hey, I want to buy it. And I'm like, it's on the market now. Okay. Let me send your agent my way and we'll talk. I put the property on the market, and in 7 days I was under contract. The guy next door, he actually put in an offer on the property. Once we got on the contract, now I'll be honest, I was nervous. I'm nervous because it's like, even though I sold a lot of properties for clients, this one different, it's mine. So I'm a little nervous, you know. Quick story before I go to the end and tell you how much I sold it for. You have to be creative. You have to be solution based. Anytime a problem comes up, which they will come up, you have to have a solution for the problem. Don't think about the problem. Think about the solution. The lender was dropping the ball. We pushed closing back at least 3 or 4 times. It wasn't because of me. It wasn't because of the realtor. It wasn't because of the buyer. It was because of the lender. After the second time, I'm like, hey, what's going on? So I reached out to the realtor first. I'm like, hey, what's going on? He really didn't know. So then I reached out to the lender. The loan officer. Sorry, the loan officer. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? Why we keep pushing closing back and it's not happening? Like, what's really, really going on? So the more and more I started talking to him, I started seeing he was dropping the ball because of his assistant. So I put my thinking cap on. So we were supposed to close on a Wednesday because the buyer was going to El Salvador on Sunday. So on Wednesday, I got news that we were not closing. So I'm upset because we keep pushing it back. And as the owner, the more and more I hold the property, the more and more interest I pay. So there's more money coming out of my pocket. I'm like, yo, what's going on? Now I'm being a little bit more assertive and a little bit more firm. Like, hey, we need to get this done before he leaves to El Salvador. And he was going to be in El Salvador for like 7 days. So I'm like, hey, we need to get this done. So he's like, yeah, we're going to have it done by Friday. Friday came and I got hit with the email. Yeah, we're not going to be able to close. I'm hot because, again, it's not me. It's not the title company. It's not the buyer's agent. It's not the buyer. It's the loan officer. So I get on the phone with him. I'm like, hey, look, he's going to El Salvador on Sunday. What's our solution? He didn't really have one. So I said, okay, can we do a virtual closing? He was like, hey, give me 5 minutes. I'll call you back. He called me back. He said, we can do a virtual closing. I called the title company. I said, hey, the buyer is going to do a virtual closing. How can we get this done? What do we need? She was like, hey, her name's Holly. Holly's so great. Shout out to Holly. She was like, hey, all we need is the buyer needs a laptop and Wi-Fi. Cool, no problem. I called the buyer. I'm like, hey, do you have Wi-Fi in where you're going to be in El Salvador? He says, yes. I said, do you have a laptop? He said, no. So what did I do? I bought a laptop. I went and bought a laptop. I went to Best Buy and I got the laptop on sale. I bought it, went to his house. I set the computer up for him and I showed him how to use it. I showed him how to connect to Wi-Fi. I showed him everything. I gave it to him. I still was nervous. Ironically, we're closing on another Wednesday, so I'm nervous. I already did my part. I signed, and I'm waiting. He was able to do the virtual closing. He was able to connect to the Wi-Fi, and it was pretty smooth. And I sold the property for $325. So again, it was two people telling me that the property was only going to be worth $250,000. They were wrong. The appraiser, second appraiser, he only gave me a value of $315. It was cool because it was enough to get the project going. But he was wrong too. I stuck to my numbers. I saw it all the way through. I'm happy I did. I learned so much during this process. And I was able to get more than the value that everybody else said I was going to get. And on top of that, even though I sold it for $325, the buyer, he received an appraisal report for like, I think it was like $330. So he got like, $5K extra in equity. But it was cool, man. So thank y'all for watching. I will see y'all on the next video. Peace.